Welcome to another episode of Let's Chat With. Joining me is founder and CEO of Brand Street Agency, Beatrice Pitocco. Beatrice, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. How are you?
I am fine. As I said before, you are the founder and CEO of Brand Street Agency. How did the agency get started?
It's a great question. I actually started the agency in 2017. I was actually doing some work with a boot company called Roma Boots and went down to Texas, spent some time down there working with them, was actually able to align the boot company with Lionsgate Films. They were, at the time, Lionsgate was doing a movie with Owen Wilson and Julia Roberts called Wonder. And the film company was actually looking for brands that gave back. Roma Boots happens to be a boot company, a rain boot company that is a buy one, give one. So for every rain boot that you acquire or purchase, they actually give rain boots to children in need. So that happened. That went super well. We were able to align with the movie Wonder. It was fabulous, and I was actually in the process of partnering with that company. But things do happen, and people change minds. So the owner of that company decided he didn't want to partner, and I just decided, well, that's fine. If things don't work, maybe that's because they're not supposed to. And so I kept the agency and sort of kept going with it. Yeah, that's kind of the infancy of where it started.
What's the main goal of the agency?
Originally the goal of the agency was to help small and medium-sized businesses succeed. Obviously, marketing has changed for a lot of business. It's very difficult for small to medium-sized businesses to compete with the type of advertising dollars that, large competitors have. And the concept behind Brand Street Agency originally was to make sure that small to medium-sized businesses could also, have at least try to market themselves in a similar fashion to these larger companies. Obviously, not on that scale, but within their local markets. And we've been successful at doing that.
Why mainly deal with socially conscious brands?
I'm a big advocate of, being kind just as a human. It's sort of my mantra of, do unto others as you would unto yourself. Socially conscious brands have always been of interest to me. There were a couple of there was a period of time where I actually was supporting a charity in Peru. The charity essentially was supporting the local indigenous people of Peru. They're known as the Quechua. Even with Roma Boots, we actually had what was called a boot drop, where I arranged for us to go to Peru, and we donated 300 rain boots to these children. And it was interesting to me because it was a very strange period of life at that time. Really, truly, made me cry was the fact that we went out to Peru, and these children who really had absolutely nothing. I mean, they didn't have the proper footwear. Their feet were, quite mangled, from wearing improper footwear. They were so excited for rain boots, and there is such a dichotomy in my mind because, in North America, children have everything and they want more. And, you go to someplace like Peru and you give simple rain boots, and these children were just beside themselves with happiness. It was one of the happiest times of my life. Giving back was literally the happiest time of that I can remember. So I definitely appreciate companies that do want to give back.
Why is it important for a brand to be socially conscious?
It depends on the brand. I think personally, it's important for a brand to be socially conscious because, if you're in business, I do believe in sort of the power of, I guess, the power of the universe. I think that what we do in this life will come back to us. And if you're giving back and you are a business owner, and it has to be genuine, it's not a gimmick, it's not a ploy. There has to be some realness to it. I do think that there is an opportunity to, be commercial and to be a capitalist, but also recognizing that, if you succeed or when you succeed, there is, some importance to being able to share that wealth. It's just a personal philosophy. And I do buy from brands that don't give back, but preferably it's something that I look for. And interestingly enough, when done my research and my reading up on, the different generations, millennials happen to be the, one generation that does seek out socially conscious brands. I think it's important to them, and I think the generation following them are probably similar in that sense.
How can a business ensure that their socially conscious initiatives are authentic and not just a marketing ploy?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that comes from the business. I think if you're using it as a marketing ploy, I think people are, we're a lot smarter than we look, even consumers, I think if it's something is not genuine, you'll pick up on it. And if it is just a marketing ploy, people will pick up on it. I think that if you are not genuine with, being socially conscious as a brand or a business, my suggestion or my piece of advice would be don't, because it will come across as being disingenuous.
One of your current projects is the Muscle and Mayhem live tour based on the documentary series from Netflix of the same name about the American Gladiators. Can you tell me about this?
Sure can. Yes, it is exciting. I actually I watched the Netflix documentary, and I was, if I'm being truthful, I wasn't a huge American Gladiators fan. I do remember it, being in my grandparents' house and seeing it come up on the television, and I was always fascinated by some of the events. But where I really kind of became a bit more intrigued was after watching the documentary. And I recognized what was happening to me was, as I was watching the documentary, I started to have these memories of my own life, remembering the show in the background. And it wasn't necessarily the show for me, it was that nostalgia that the show was bringing back to sort of the forefront of my memory. And I realized that there's something there. There is definitely something there about the show, about the characters or the talent that was on the show. So yeah, I messaged Lori Fetrick, who played Ice, and
Mhm.
we connected and we started to build out some ideas together. And one of those was the Muscles and Mayhem live tour.
What can people expect when they see the tour?
It is going to be fun. So, it's interesting because I've had the pleasure of meeting a number of the former American gladiators, and when they are together, there is an energy that they kind of have as a group. They're very fun. I mean, you have to understand they've known each other for over 30 years, and so there is this camaraderie and this friendship that definitely comes through as a group. The show itself is going to be, there's going to be a lot of stories, things that were not told on the documentary. There will be some interaction, and perhaps, some of the viewers may learn how to joust by a former American gladiator.
Besides Lori, which former American Gladiators will be taking part?
Dan Clark, who played Nitro, Jim Starr, who played Laser, and Erica Anders, who played Diamond, are all going to be on the live tour. The thought process is, as we continue to go forward and we get additional cities and tour dates, that we will, hopefully have the opportunity to bring back some other former gladiators.
So far, you only have 3 dates, and what date are those, and where are the tour going?
So we do have 3 dates scheduled for October. The first show will actually be in Toronto, Canada. I'm from Toronto, Canada, so it's kind of an homage to my city. That is October 16th. On the 18th, we will be in Pittsburgh, and then we finish off this leg of the tour in New York City on the 19th.
What other current projects do you have going on with your agency?
Quite a few, actually. One of the other ones that is coming forward is a partnership with Lori Fetrick. Her and I have sort of developed a concept of a children's animation and book. The book should be published probably in October of this year, and it is called Playground Warriors. And the concept is essentially teaching children or having children exercise through animation. We know that kids are constantly on their iPads or their phones. This is an opportunity for us to create an animation where we are hopefully going to get kids up and moving. Now, we do have a charitable component to this. We've aligned with a charity called Every Kid Sports, and Every Kid Sports is national in the US. And what it does is it supports children from low income families, paying the fees for organized sports for those children. And they're making an incredible impact on children's lives. And it's a charity that's held pretty closely to Lori, because as a child growing up, her family wasn't well to do, and she was a very big sports kid, and having the ability now at this stage of her life life to be able to collaborate with a charity that, her family could have certainly benefited from, I think is kind of comes full circle for her.
Finally, where can people learn more about you and Brand Street Agency? Instagram, Twitter, website, Facebook, Threads?
Almost all of those. Website is brandstreetagency.com. On Instagram, I'm actually just Beatrice.Pitocco. That's just my Instagram page. I also do write. I have a couple of poetry books that I've written, which are available on Amazon. If you just Google my name, you will pull up some of my books. As a marketeer, I tend to shy away from social media. It's bizarre to me, but I tend to constantly be in the background of things.
Well, thank you, Beatrice, for being on this episode of Let's Chat With.
Thank you.